Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast tonight. It's Tough Love Tuesday. I want to thank all the viewers that are viewing now or on the replay on Facebook, also on YouTube, for being here. And I would also like to welcome those that are listening later on the podcast. So it's Tuesday, Tough Love Tuesday. Everything's recorded live. And anyway, a lot of stuff is happening in my world on the tech world side of things. So I mentioned last week my computer screen went blank. So that is getting hopefully fixed soon. And so I'm on my phone. And I was being interviewed on a podcast today, and my phone literally jumped out of its holder right in the middle of the interview. So let that be. I'm pretty sure I've got it set to where that's not going to happen tonight, but it also happened to me when I was on with a client today in a session. It jumped right out of the little tripod holder. So just going with the flow. So anyway, tonight I wanted to talk about living life as an authentically, and within that is figuring out what your core values are and how knowing what those are can really create a positive impact on your life and help guide you in direction in terms of all areas of your life. So as Ingrid and I wrote in Your Personal Journey with Food, there's a lot of areas in our lives that intersect each other. And one area, if all areas are going well, we feel cohesive, we feel whole. But if they aren't, and maybe because our core values in that area aren't defined, it can make us feel off kilter, distressed, blocked off from things. So areas as a coach I look at with my clients, we talk about home environment, physical activity, our health, joy, spirituality, relationships, finances, creativity, social life, career, education, and yes, home cooking. So in the book, I've got what we called our life radar, and it's a way for us to work together to figure out how maybe we can establish some, see how it's going, and then look at maybe where our values are in that area, and maybe we just don't know. So again, I'm an integrated nutrition health coach. That means when I coach people, we're looking at all aspects of life. Most people come to me, for health reasons, usually to lose weight or to help develop a supportive relationship with food. So as you're listening to this broadcast, you can listen to it from ears like that. Your core values around food, your core values around your body, core values around your time. But also, we're going to be out to other areas where you can think about your core values in the areas I just mentioned, your finances, your home cooking, your physical activity, spirituality, all those things, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's figure out what values are first, okay? So they are different for everyone. Everyone has different values, but they can be described basically as fundamental beliefs that guide or motivate attitudes or actions. So ethicsage.com states that values describe the personal qualities we choose to embody to guide our actions. So the sort of person we want to be, basically. The manner in which we treat ourselves and others, and our interaction with the world around us. So again, looking at food, we might look at that as how we treat our bodies. What's our core value around how we treat our body, ourselves, and others? What kind of food do we eat? And what's that value in terms of, how it relates to us? So in short, basically, values help us to determine what is important to us and provide general guidelines for our conduct around that. In my case, in relation to my food and my body, was I had periods of time where I just didn't value, my core values were very low. associated with my body and my health. And everything else I had a core value was higher. It was much more important. Okay, so that's a really good example. There were periods in my life where my value, my core value in terms of my health, in terms of how I treated my body, and my priorities in terms of my health was very low to non-existent. Okay, and that's when I got sick, and that's when I would gain weight because I didn't have the core values set up, or I didn't believe I had value enough to even take care of myself. Okay, so it's a really good example. So again, so we can look at core values as just how we will prioritize things too. Core values can help us learn to prioritize things. Okay. So how values can help you. I just gave that example of my health. Well, my lack of values around my food, my body, my time, I'm taking care of myself were to non-existent, and that displayed out in my health. But they can really help you in so many other ways. So when you put them in place. So again, as I showed in the life radar from your personal journey with food, you can kind of see in that radar how maybe your values in areas where you're not feeling as confident in your life, maybe you have to instill some values for you to make those areas feel more whole. So here's how values can help you. So what job should I pursue? So you could be looking for a job, but your values will help you determine what's a good job for you to pursue. Should you accept a promotion? So in that case, you might say, hey, I have my family. I like to be sure I get out, into nature. I have all these things that I have of high value. If I take this promotion, will it compromise any of those values? Should I start my own business? Would be another area your values can help you. Should I compromise or be firm with a position that I am very passionate about? Should I follow tradition or travel down a new path for myself? Here's another one that was for me. Should I exercise? Should I lose weight? And should I eat the cookie? So back again, when I was in my pre-diabetic state, my values were non-existent in that area. And I placed higher values in other areas of my life to much more of an extreme. So when you think about trying to figure out what your values are, if you can integrate a concept that supports all those areas of your life so that you can have that wholeness that you are looking for. So defining values. So one thing to keep in mind when defining our core values is that everyone's different, just like diets, just like, bio individuality is what it's called. What I eat to support my body in general is probably healthy for most everybody, but there are different things that I can't eat or that trigger me or things like that. So just like in food, your core values are going to be your own. Okay. So what makes one person happy could leave another person feeling really anxious or disengaged. Okay. So again, these values are yours. And that's what's so wonderful about this. So defining your values is the first step to living by them. So you've got to figure out what they are. So you want to find ones that make you feel more fulfilled, and that also make it so that you can choose things that to do in your life that create alignment between your mind, heart, and body. Okay. Because it's all a cohesive system, and all of this works together, right? So, yeah, it's really a fun activity to find out what's truly important to you. Okay, so I'll go through a couple steps that can help you figure out your values. So let's think back. I think I've already told you mine, right? In relation to when I got pre-diabetes, and that I had no core values based around my self-care. I had put everyone above my self-care, And then I ended up overweight, not exercising, feeling awful about myself, all of these things because I just didn't have, I'd lost my core values, and it made my life in terms of my health very complicated. So what you can do is look back in time uh, and answer a couple questions for when you felt most centered and most whole. What were you doing and who were you with? And what do you think the contributors were to that feeling of being centered, being happy, more whole? Okay, so you can think back on time of when you may have felt that way. That can give you a clue. Um, Also, a time when you felt most proud. Is there a time through your career where you felt really proud in your career, your personal life? Things just kind of was gelling, and figure out, well, why were you? What did you achieve? Why were you proud? Um, did other people share in that pride? And if so, who were they? And then what other contributors added to those feelings? So I've had times in my life, in my career, where I felt really proud, and I think about where I was in my mindset. As going back to my health, I was really proud that I overcame and that I stuck it out. And I had the support of my family, my friends, and my ability to give myself the opportunity to have a healthy life versus the one where I saw myself going into a life that was filled with medications and just not feeling good and always being tired. So I was very proud that I didn't give up. And so that's one of mine that I like to look back on. Next, step 3, think of a time when you felt fulfilled. So that can be, again, looking back at work, your personal examples to identify a time when you felt most fulfilled and successful. And what need or desire did you fulfill? And how and why did the experience give your life meaning? And what other factors contributed to your feelings of fulfillment? Again, I'm going to stick back to where I finally decided to have a core value that I was worth taking care of, and very proud of that concept that I was able to do that. It's just an example for me. So now we can put all that together. So using your answers to those steps based on your experience of happiness, pride, and fulfillment, you can determine your core values. There's good places you can go to find, you can even Google a list of core values, and you can go ahead and there's all sorts of websites that do this. The Compound Effect, Darren Hardy has a really good site. You can, for an email, you can go ahead and download his Compound Effect, and it's a whole assessment, and you can figure out what your core values are, what your priorities are. There's also another one, qualitycharters.org has a values list as well. But just go ahead, and there's so many of them available. And so go through the list and try and narrow it down to your top 10. And that's hard. And then once you find your top 10, see if you can, I went ahead of myself. So once you find those top 10, see what resonates with you. That's going to help. And compare each value and place them in order of importance. So that's another tough one. How do you pick what's most important of your values? But it's a fun exercise to challenge yourself with. And then you're going to reaffirm your values. You'll be doing that by prioritizing them, like I said. And then you look at, how do these fit into your life? So how do these values that you decided, these top 10, fit into your life, into all those areas that we discussed? Your social life, your relationships, your finances, your career, education, your physical fitness, your relationship with your body, all of that kind of stuff. So when you look at those values, do they make you feel good about yourself? Okay, so that's important. And are you proud of, you've got to pick the top 3. What are those top 3? And would you be proud and to tell your values to people you respect and admire? And do those values um, represent the things you would support, even if your choice isn't necessarily popular, and it could put you in the minority. So that'll help you as well. Um, Additional things you can consider. So if you're still struggling to identify your values, here's some additional questions that I've asked myself. How do I respond to hardship and good fortune? So I want to say that my new values, well, that I put into place starting in 2014, 2013 for my health, really helped me stay in a healthy place after my husband died, right? So I had these core values. I knew I had to take care of myself. And I'd already experienced what it meant if I didn't take care of myself. And so, because I had such a strong core value, it really, under an extreme duress situation, I was able to just hold on to that. And it helped me get through so much of that these last 8 months. Okay. So, in times of struggle, in times of good hardship and good fortune, how can these values support you? And also, um, look at who your closest friends are, because I bet your values are probably similar to them. And then, how do you treat others around you? Okay, so that can help resonate and help you hone in on values if you're having a hard time, picking your top 10. So then we get to live our values. Okay, so once we pick them, we kind of figure out what we want to choose. We apply them into our life, and what's great about having them is that when you're making choices, you can say, oh my gosh, does this choice support my values, or does this choice go against my values? And so I'll talk a bit about that next. This is how we incorporate that. So you can use your values to help you set goals. So again, we'll go ahead and utilize weight loss, for example. So I had to have a core value put into place that I was worthy of being healthy, and that I was worthy of taking time to take care of myself, right? So one of my core values is that I will take care of myself, okay? And realizing how important that is to my family as well for me to do so. So consider the current goals you're working towards and determine if they align with newly identified values. Are you living according to your values as a whole? And does your career choice reflect your values? So I know when I was in corporate America, I realized that I had to give up my value for myself. And also I almost, kind of put my family on the back seat. And my corporate job became the priority. And I realized I could tell how that didn't feel good in my gut and my heart. I was acting outside of my values, if that makes sense. So does your career choice and how you're working in that career align with your values? And what about activities outside of work? Do they align? And then, are you spending your time on things that matter to you? So when you know what matters to you and you know what your values are, it makes it much easier to determine where you're going to spend your valuable time. So it's just like having a guidebook with you all the time. The other benefit is that when you're trying to make long-term goals, having those values set up are going to help you to make the day-to-day choices that you want to make to achieve your long-term goal. So again, I'm going to use weight loss for an example. You know that you may want to lose weight or you want to build new muscle. What day-to-day little things can you incorporate into your life that support your value to take care of yourself, and then to see the result of your goal down the road? It can also be saving money. You have a goal to get out of debt. Do you have a goal to go back to school? So then you can implement the day-to-day activities in there to support you in those decisions. And yeah, so go ahead and think about in the moment, do you react to situations in ways that align with your values? And you'll be able to tell because your gut instinct will come up when you're acting in a way that's outside of your value. So if I want to say, hey, I want to save money for a specific thing, but I continue to just drop it and randomly go shopping and waste money on clothes I don't need, does that behavior align with my value of wanting to save money? If I want to eat more supportive foods for my body, when I go shopping, do my shopping and food choices align with my value that I want to take care of this amazing vessel I get to live in? Okay, so it's just fun to see what your actions are in alignment with your values. So it's not always easy for our actions to align with our values. So and for me, it was always the Skittles, the caramel popcorn, those kinds of things, and really training myself. No, this doesn't align with my values. I know it hurts my body when I eat these things. So making that tough choice. So what can help is if you have your values written down, just the 10, and read them in the morning when you wake up. And then even do like a breathing technique of, I've talked about this recently, this box breathing, where you breathe in for a certain, 5 counts, you hold for 5 counts, you breathe out for 5 and hold for 5, all in and out of your nose. But you can visualize your day and plan out how you're going to live by your values throughout the day. And you get to set that intention. You can have a list of them printed with you, or you can have them on your phone as the main picture. So whenever time you go to your phone, you say your 10 values. And just like training your mind to think differently and to just keep them up front. Setting up reminders to pop up on your phone. Bing. Okay, read my values. And then when you see that you're straying, analyze the situation after. So let's say I go into the store and I go to the candy aisle and I make a choice that I'm going to grab the Skittles or the Runts, and I choose to buy them, and I go home and I eat them. Okay, I know that's outside my values. So if I analyze what was going on, why did I make the choice? Not to beat myself up, but why did I make the choice when I know that that's outside my core value? And then what could I have done differently, right? So one thing, again, I like to do is if I'm facing a situation where my mind is saying, oh, this is a great idea, and I know it's going against my core values, oh, just buy the candy. Oh, just have the cupcake. I know you're going to feel horrible, but it's only feeling bad for a couple hours, right? I'll take a moment, I step back from it, and I'll just breathe through it. I'll just kind of like settle it down. No, we're just going to keep walking. This doesn't feel good. We know we're not going to feel good if we do that. And you can do that with any aspect of your life. Okay, so just take that moment. If you're going to make a snap judgment, step back. Does this align? And breathe through it. And if it doesn't align, you can just move on. Okay, and you feel good about it. Okay, it's like building muscles. Okay, so it'd be fun for anyone watching, or at any time, it'd be fun. Like if you found in a list, go out and find lists of values and pick yours. It'd be fun to see what you like to put on your list if you have one or two, and it's just neat to compare what we all think. So. All right, so we're just going to review what I talked about. So let's do a quick review. So values help us to determine what is important and provide general guidelines for conduct. And we can think of it as the magnets in our moral compass. It's in our compass to help us create the life that we want to create. Okay. And it might mean when we do an assessment of our values that we need to say, oh, this value isn't serving me anymore. And I want to fill it with something, a different value that will support me, that will support my goal, that will support the ability for me to, here's a good one, realize that, yeah, having joy in your life is a good thing. Okay. That we can live with joy. All right. And again, you're going to want to rank your values. Okay. 1 through 10. And that was hard for me to do. It's hard sometimes. You're like, but some of these others are so good. You can still have them there. They're still going to be there, but you want to have that, that core group of values. So have fun, take the time, head on out there and Google a value list. And, or you can, like I said, go to darrenhardy.com. He's got a great PDF group of a group of PDF downloads. And he wrote the book Compound Effect. And it talks about doing all the little things every day that can help you achieve goals. And I admit I didn't like doing it. The very first time I did it was probably back in 2009. It's hard to do assessments on yourself sometimes, but in that it's so wonderful. And and we put it in the book too, Your Personal Journey with Food. There's assessments to help us figure out what our values have been and what our priorities have been and how we can help ourselves by making some tweaks. So go out there and do that. Have fun with that. And I think that's all I have tonight. A nice quick broadcast this evening. So if you have any questions, you can always private message me. If you'd like to connect with me, feel free to go to my website, and there's a link on there to get a complimentary session with me to discuss all this stuff and maybe how to help you get things in alignment for your values in relation to your health and your nutrition intake, your physical fitness. Okay. And so that's tracycromwell.com, or you can email me at tracy@tracycromwell.com. Okay, everyone, have a great night. Have fun figuring out your values. It's January 31st at the time of this recording. So still a great opportunity to reassess, what you would like 2023 to have for you, and creating that roadmap and that compass of those values is going to help you get there. Okay. Have a great night. All right. We'll see everyone later next week. Okay. Bye.